Welcome to all new Look Back in Amber, from exclusive interviews to interesting inside insights. Since 2010, we've been the best place to be for all things audio for us, Newport County fans. Coming in the next 45 minutes, I'm Lamsey and I've got all the big questions.
I'm Stephen. Happy New Year. I've got the commentary highlights and I'd love to know your New Year's resolution for the team.
Hi, I'm Luke. Happy New Year. And I have the post-match interview with County Manager Graham Cochran. I'd like to ask what we need to do with the transfer window.
Never miss out. Subscribe to the podcast and make sure you listen live traditionally at 3 p.m. on the Sunday and 7 p.m. on the Wednesday after all League 2 home matches. So if we haven't said enough already, Happy New Year. Let's have a quick catch up first. So before we go into the Crawley game, let's talk about Leyton Orient. Stephen, your moments from that.
I thought it was a really, really good performance from Newport County. I think it was a stroke of genius from Graham Cochran putting Aaron Lewis in the midfield. They stifled the threat of Leyton Orient. What they did was Scott Bennett sat in front of the back four and picked up Moncur, who was playing in behind their strikers. So that kind of prevented him from creating anything. But then Aaron Lewis and Nathan Mariah-Welsh pushed up onto the other two Leyton Orient midfielders, which stifled them as well. And I think it was a really, really good performance on the front foot, closing them down, creating chances, could have possibly won the game as well. And it was a really, really positive performance against the league leaders. I was very happy on Friday night.
Yeah, we weren't really expecting much from this game, were we? Then suddenly, everything happened to it.
Yeah.
Luke, what was your thoughts about the Leyton Orient game?
Yeah, I agree with Stephen. I think playing Aaron Lewis in midfield, which I believe is something that we...
When we say we, you mean Stephen.
I mean Stephen.
He's been so modest. This is a New Year's resolution, is it, to be more modest than you already are?
I am, yeah.
No, it was definitely a Stephen idea said on the previous episode. Also, what Stephen said as well was linking the strike partnership a chance between Bogle and Zanzala.
Bogle and Zanzala, that's something that we said, and it worked on Friday night. They linked up quite well, and arguably the best performance we've seen under Graham Cochran so far. I think the team looked full of energy, full of running, full of pressing, which you kind of need against the league leaders. And like Stephen said, our three midfielders locked onto their three midfielders and just made sure they had no time on the ball. Whenever they did have the ball, there was 2 or 3 county players around them to stop them. And I think you can't in the midfield of Leyton Orient, you basically... You cut them out, and they lost again yesterday. They lost to Northampton, so they are in a bit of a wobble at the moment. Are the league leaders? Whether they do a Forest Green from last season and finish? Did Forest Green finish second last season? Because they were so far ahead. They're like 25 points ahead, and then
it's not spoken to anybody all of Christmas and New Year's, isn't it? Like, it's about Newport County. Stop. I don't know. Anyway, so we rolled on to yesterday. It began at 1 p.m. in the Marquee with the NTA warm-up team and the kids from Riverside Rovers. They were brilliant. So there's about 23 of them, and nobody wanted to ask a question originally. And suddenly they came up with loads of great questions for our players. 5 Newport County players over there yesterday, so that's pretty cool. Our charity of the day, which was Cancer Research, a bit of a personal thing for me. My friend sadly died of a brain tumour, and his daughter was there, who I've not seen for about 12 years. So it was really nice catching up with them, even though under very difficult circumstances. And then we had the Oral Quest Disco, so that's always a good bit of fun as well. Continue at 3 p.m. in the company with Chris, Stephen, Luke, and Lucas back on photos. Not been able to get over there all over Christmas, so nice seeing Chris back. Down to business. Stephen, talk to me about Crawley before this game.
Yeah, well, Crawley were 19th in League 2. They were 3 points behind Newport going into yesterday's game. They lost their last 3 matches. The last time that Crawley had lost 4 on the run in September and October, they ended that run by beating Newport County. They lost their last away match at Stevenage. They hadn't won away all season, played 11, drew 5, lost 6. In the last 7 away, they'd drawn 2 and lost 5. In the last 3 meetings between the teams, Crawley had won 2 and drawn 1. And in the last 8 meetings, Crawley had won 3, drawn 4 and lost 1.
Okay. Luke, how did Newport County line up yesterday?
Yeah, we made 2 changes from that Leyton Orient game. Joe Day in goal, back through Declan Drysdale, Priestley Farquharson and Mickey Demetriou. Adam Lewis and Cameron Norman on the wings, with James Wade, Scott Bennett and Aaron Lewis in midfield, with Will Evans and Omar Bogle up front.
And we're almost up to date and ready for the commentary. Just to say that on the previous match, Leyton Orient, and also this game as well, there was applause for Pele as well, which was impeccably done.
Yeah, it was.
And the right thing to do. So let's get cracking on with the game that happened yesterday afternoon. Newport County versus Crawley.
Good afternoon. 3 days ago, Newport County held the league leaders Leyton Orient to a goalless draw here. And so the first game of 2023. sees them welcome one of the 6 sides below them in the standings, Crawley Town, who are in a bit of turmoil with their new manager departing just a few days ago after barely a month in charge, Matt Etherington, and one of the co-directors appearing in the dugout alongside interim boss Darren Byfield. A familiar face is in the Crawley lineup, Dom Telford, the man who scored 26 goals for Newport last season before a free transfer in the summer. Chris Chappell with you on commentary alongside a man just like Dom Telford, who's back at Rodney Parade for 2023. Yeah. Stephen Howell.
Yeah, good afternoon, Chris. Great to be here. Happy to be here for the first game of 2023. I think Newport County will be looking forward to home wins as a New Year's resolution for this year. After only managing 3 up till now for the season. So yeah, the return of Telford as well should be an interesting afternoon, shouldn't it?
Swept in from the right hand side, it's bounced through and helped towards goal. On the line, it's turned in. Dom Telford, I think, got the touch on the line and toned down celebrations in front of the crowd that worshipped him for last season's exploits. 26 goals in the only season really where he's been set alight. First and only time in double figures. And he's up to 7 for the season, is Dom Telford. Fellows escapes down the right hand side, could be 2 in quick succession, but a great stop from Day. Got his right arm up. It was 2 on 1 there. Fellows had acres to run into on the right hand side through the middle. And Day stood up tall. And it was a fine stop from the Newport number 1. But it could have been quick fire 2-goal salvo there from Crawley.
Yeah, he done it again, Joe Day, didn't he? The last line of defence that he stood strong. He did against Leyton Orient as well, didn't he? But yeah, that goal was really disappointing for County. They made a good start, but they'd gone a bit flat, didn't they? And I think Crawley had taken advantage of that and got themselves 1-0 up.
Zanzala straight into the action on the left side of the box, onto his right foot, drills it in low, and a low start from Balcom in his near post. But an immediate upturn in threat from Newport County with the introduction of Frande Zanzala. Adam Lewis gets down the left and swings the ball in towards Bogle, takes it on the thigh, puts it back. Aaron Lewis, denied by Balcom, is going into the top corner. And they have been awarded a penalty. Cerula on his left foot, checked inside, drew the foul, and there was just enough contact to send him flying. Alan Young was in a good position, the referee, and he points to the spot. Now, 25 minutes to go. This could put the game beyond Newport County. Such is their lack of goal-scoring threat, particularly at home. Just 9 goals scored, and this is game number 13 at home. Here comes Telford, left-footed, and rolls it into the bottom corner, sending Day the wrong way. And again, he doesn't want to celebrate. What do you think of the penalty there, Stephen?
Well, yeah, I can see why he gave it. He took his legs, didn't he? Do you know what I mean? So, but I just think it's a bit frustrating with County fans from their perspective that they were denied 2 penalties, and then he goes and gives one to Crawley. So, yeah, I don't really have any arguments. And, you know, Telford's going to put it in from 12 yards, don't you? So.
County looking to break. Lewis Collins, left wing, runs at Mason. Plays the cross in towards Zanzala. Mistake from the defender. Wilmot back to goal, gives it to Norman. Crosses it in, and the header flies into the top corner. And Matty Dolan was in there. I think he got his head to it. And Newport, once again, against Crawley, reduce the arrears. Can they go on and find an equaliser now? Nice ball in on the right hand right-hand side, and Dolan got in front of his marker and headed into the top corner. 2-1, Stephen.
Yeah, well, could they do it? Could they come back from the jaws of defeat during the last 8 minutes? You wouldn't bet against them, would you? But it's a great header from Dolan, and it's got the crowd now behind them as well. Let's hope they push on, possibly get another one, at least rescue a point.
So there will be even more seconds added on. Corner out on the left, swung in towards the middle, and he's coming up with defender. It's 2-2. I think it's an own goal. Zanzala was in there, and Newport County in added time. They've recovered from 2-0 down, and it's now 2-2.
Incredible, yeah. They just epitomised that spirit, haven't they? Fight till the end, don't give up, and they got themselves back into this game.
Almost at the 100-minute mark. And Telford's in on the left side of the box, chipped it over the goalkeeper, but the ball spins an inch over the crossbar, and County survive to get a point from an unlikely position. With 7 minutes to go, they were 2-0 down, but Matty Dolan's header that flew into the top corner gave them a lifeline, and it was a Frande Zanzala, another of the substitutes, who's been given the equaliser in the 2nd minute of added time. County rescue a point out of nowhere and avoid an 8th home defeat of the season. Crawley, in turn, are still looking for their first away win, having thrown away that 2-goal lead given to them by Dom Telford's brace. Score of so many goals here last season, but well, a really rousing end to the game that the crowd got fully invested in. And Newport County finish here, having rescued a 2-2 draw against Crawley Town.
Thanks, Stephen. Thanks, Chris. Let's get into the post-match interview with the manager, Graham Coughlin.
Well, if I try and digest or break the game down in segments, I think for the first 20 minutes we got out of blocks, we started fast, we went one-on-one with the goalie, we had a couple of chances that we should have finished, we should have scored, settle everybody down. We then looked as if we then hit a brick wall, and we just didn't compete then for the remaining 25 minutes of the first half. In fact, Crawley were much better than us for that period. We then come out at half time. We come out after half time, and we played on the front foot, exactly what I wanted from the off. And we started to get involved in tackles and in duels and in first contact, second balls, and then all of a sudden the momentum swung for us. But I would expect that type of levels from us week in, week out, but I got to give the lads benefit of the doubt. I've asked them to go again 3 games back to back over the Christmas period, so there was an element of tiredness, and I just obviously mentioned it to them in the changing room. Possibly should have freshened it up, I possibly should have made more changes, so that has to be down to me rather than the players. But when you're looking at a group of lads in the form and playing the way they've been playing, I felt I gave them the benefit of the doubt, and I allowed them to keep their jerseys and stay in. But in hindsight, yes, I have to hold my hand up. I should have probably made several changes to the team rather than just the 2. I should have made several changes to freshen the thing up, freshen the squad up, freshen the team up, because they have been working extremely hard over the period for us.
You can't question the character, can you?
No, I don't think the character, the resilience of the lads has ever been in doubt, really. One of the lads just mentioned in the changing room, we would have probably lost that game a few months back. So yes, it's and lo and behold, we should have probably went and won it. To be honest, it was a very, very, from my point of view, frustrating afternoon. But as you quite rightly said, the character and the resilience that the players have shown has been very, very good.
And it always helps a manager when the subs work out, and Matty Dolan and Frande Zanzala delivered.
Yeah, but I can look at that and say they're good substitutions, but then I'm sure my critics would look at that and say, well, they should have been on from the start, and I'd probably have to agree, because like I say, I probably should have changed and freshened up the team. But those lads, I've spoken about continuity and consistency since I've come in the front door. And to take those jerseys away from those lads would have been harsh, but it probably would have been the right thing to do. But I just gave the players the benefit of the doubt, because I trust them, and I bought into them so much since I come through the front door. So they'll certainly sleep tonight. They'll have a couple of days rest, obviously, given the period that they've had. But not only that, I think that today was a culmination of the intensity, the levels, the sessions we've been doing, what we've been asking since the day we've come in. So I've got to cut the lads a little bit of slack, and I've got to give them the benefit of the doubt. And again, look, they've come away there today from a game. Look, we looked dead and buried. We looked dead on our feet. We looked flat. The stadium was flat. We weren't getting the rub of the green, and as you quite rightly say, for them to rise up and to show character, to show resilience. And I think I mentioned it from the day I come into the club. These boys care. These boys play for this football club. They love playing for the club. They love representing the fans and the club. And I think they deserve probably a pat on the back for their efforts in the second half.
Now, I've got to ask you, reactions on the bench during injury time. You and Darren Byfield got red cards off the referee. Why?
Well, what I was accused of was so far from the truth, so I'll possibly due an apology in the morning. There was obviously then there was 3 penalty incidents that were clear penalties, weren't they, from all to see, and the referee had an outstanding viewpoint. So that's again something that I'll need to hear from, and I'll be asking questions in the morning regarding. But look, I don't want to stand here and make comment. I'm due an apology for what I was accused of. So until that comes true, then I'll make no further comment.
So do you expect the red card to be rescinded, or will you appeal if it is brought against you?
Oh, I'll see what they say. Let's let the referees and the fourth official calm down, assess it, and let's let nature run its course, and we'll consider our actions when we hear what the referees have to say.
Matty Dolan, he's your predecessors have always said what a good bloke he is around the training ground and everything like that, what a leader he is, but what a moment for him as well to come in and really spark that.
Yeah, Matty's different class. Matty's a proper leader. He's a proper man. He's my type of guy. To be fair, I can't speak highly enough of him. He's had to be patient, really, in the team. He's been in and out, obviously, over the last 12 months. But Matty for me is priceless. He's a real figurehead at this football club. He loves the club as well, and he's a pleasure to have around the place.
He's not far off his sick bed as well either.
Yeah. Well, look, it's strange how football happens. He wasn't available to us. I can't remember the days of the week. It was a Boxing Day. I don't know. Whenever he wasn't available to us, he was ill. He wasn't well. But he's come in, and he's obviously fought his way back from a little bit of illness. He's still not right. There's 1 or 2 of them in the change room that's still not right. So it's been a tough Christmas period with weather, with facilities, with illness, with game being called off. So it's been a bag of all sorts. But again, like I say, I think we mentioned it before, or the start of the interview, the resilience and the character that these players show is second to none. And you will always get games like that during the season, because let's be honest, our lads was on a hiding to nothing today. There wasn't one person who came to this ground today that thought this is a walk in the park, and football just isn't like that. Football is not like that. It's a million miles from that, and I warned the players about that before the match. Nobody gives you anything in football. We weren't at it. We weren't up to our usual standards. But we've got out of jail. We have got out of jail, and again, the character resilience could have quite easily won the game for us. Had the 3 decisions, maybe one of them fallen our way, we might have won it. But like I say, again, I'm stood here in front again. A game that maybe we should have won, but we got a little bit sloppy. Not like us, sloppiness and laziness, tiredness. Not like us at all. So it'd be very, very hard for me to criticise the lads given what they've been given over the last 3 months.
The crowd helped in that.
The crowd were brilliant. The crowd drove us on, and you could sense in the first half it was flat. You could sense that there was an expectation level from the crowd. You could sense that it was very, very flat. But in the second half, and it just took a couple of tackles, it just took a couple of us to get on the front foot, it took a couple of substitutions, and the crowd got right up for it and right behind us and drove us on. And probably had we not had the passionate support that they bring to this ground, we probably might not have got back in the game. So they deserve a pat on the back as well, and they've really dragged us through, and that epitomises top quality fans when you're down and out, and they don't let you, they don't allow you to get your head down. They allow you to pick yourself up, and they really got us back in the game. And yeah, it was a big pat on the back to the fans as well to keep us going.
When the dust settles, a few nice headaches for Rochdale now, given the impact from the bench.
Well, yeah, the lads was look. I've always said the squad is a great bunch of boys, but let me think about I'll think about tomorrow when I wake up in the morning. Gee whiz, and I'll think about Saturday when I get closer. It's just digesting what's happened today, digesting the 3 games, and just getting through. Just having to check up the walk and wounded, try to have an assessment with them in the morning, see how they're feeling, see where they are. So we've got a few days to ourselves now that we can maybe have a little assessment of who's fit and who's not fit.
You need both. I think I need a darkened room, but housekeeping. Nathan Mariah Welsh, was he injured? Or
yeah. He was. Look, he's a big miss for us. It was touch and go. He didn't train with us yesterday. It was a Saturday and Sunday. If I've got my days right, if I got them wrong, I apologise. But the 2 days he hadn't trained with us for the 2 days. Obviously, with he's picked up a knock. I think it was here late in Orient. I think we've seen him go down. So that was a blow to us. Again, that was a late change in the team. So you could tell maybe it was a little bit of. It wasn't fluent. We had obviously had to change late, so that again was another hurdle we had to get over. Yeah, but he was a big miss to us, to be fair. So we're hoping that it's not too serious, and he should be okay for the weekend. Fingers crossed.
The comeback just shows the Newport County spirit is still here and still fighting.
Yeah. I think the fans played a big part in that as well, as we said. But these lads don't know when to be. They're a great bunch of lads. They don't know when to be. And when you come back from 2-0 down and you draw 2-all, it feels like a win. It's a real boost. Real boost of confidence. It was untidy, it was scrappy, it was a bitty in the first half. We should have maybe punished. We should punish teams when we get chances. We allowed them in. Not like us. We got some sloppy moments. You could see the tiredness in us. You could see the fatigue factor. When you got that noise behind you, when you got that driving force behind you, they tend to drag you over the line, and they done that today. So they deserve as much of the plaudits as the players do.
You said you're actively looking in the transfer window. What areas are you looking at? James Roby said over the summer he was always after a number 10. Is that still the case, or has it changed under you?
I never said that. James said that. So you best speak to James. To be honest, I look to strengthen the team. I'll look at 1 or 2 players. I will look to strengthen the team. I'll look at 1 or 2 areas of the team that need strengthening.
Newport County only won 7 games at home in the calendar year 2020. That must be one of the things you need to improve on coming into 2023.
Well, I wasn't in charge for the whole year, so I wouldn't like to comment on someone else's work.
Oh, no, thank you.
There you go. Lots of Graham Coughlin, lots of spikiness for Luke.
Indeed.
I see what you're trying to do there, because obviously, the first question about, you're going to talk about transfers, but it's the one thing that seems glaringly obvious.
Yeah.
I would have thought you might have said, what can he say with transfers? It's difficult, isn't it? But we'll talk about that in your bit later. I think also, just the fact of, the lack of wins at home throughout the calendar year. Again, he's not ultimately responsible for it, but you think he might be able to elaborate and say what sort of plan there would be from it. So
well, when he came in, that was one of the things he said, is that he wants to turn Rodney Parade into a fortress again. He said over recent months that we doing? I think we're Stephen's talking about.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Took the words out of my mouth.
Luke's having a great first episode of the new year, isn't he? But no, it's always difficult with you asking the last questions, because everything's all been covered, isn't it? And there was a lot to cover. So Stephen, let's try and summarise that as quickly as we can. It felt like a ring donut. So there's like a nice bit on the one side, a nice bit at the end, but a great big hole in the middle. Yeah,
there was. Yeah, they started off really well. They started creating chances, like Will Evans, Aaron Lewis, Bogle. But then it just seemed to go a bit flat, and Crawley began to have an impact on the game. They were causing problems out wide with Mason and Fellows, looking dangerous on the right. That's kind of, they capitalised on that and got the goal. And I think if it wasn't for Joe Day, it would have probably been 2 or 3 at half time, to be honest. He made a couple of really good saves. Again, I think we've spoken about Joe Day now. He's the same in the Leyton Orient game. He was like the last line of defence, and he stood up firm. I think he's performing really well at the moment. Yeah, like Graham said, it just went a bit flat, and I don't know whether that's because of tiredness, but everything went flat. The team, the stadium, and it took until 82 minutes for the team and the stadium to wake up a bit. I think once they got that first goal, everybody's had a bit of belief, and you could hear it in the commentary. The place was rocking. Yeah, we had a couple of good chances. I think it was definitely a penalty for them. Cerula was brought down, but I think, like I said in the commentary, it was frustrating because I disagree with Graham. I don't think maybe the Zanzala foul could have been a penalty, but Bogle was looking for one, in my opinion, so that's why the ref didn't give it. And on both occasions, the defenders and the forwards were all over each other, so I think that's why the ref didn't give it, really. And I think he made some changes. It paid off. He went to a 4-4-2, and good to see him reacting in the game. He kind of matched up Crawley the way they were playing. So that was good to see. Dolan obviously scored, Zanzala scored. It's nice to see the subs having an impact. We've spoke before, we're bringing on players and they don't have an impact. That happened yesterday, so that was really positive. And and our fighting spirit was there. And then for the last 12 minutes, that's one of the most bonkers ends to a football match I've ever seen in my life. It was all happening, to be honest. But it was really good. And it's really good to get a point from being 2-0 down, because I really do think you could sense the atmosphere. If we'd lost that game, I think it might have been ugly at full time yesterday, to be honest. But thankfully, everybody went home a bit happier.
Before we get Luke's thoughts, just a quick question. I'm always intrigued in psychology of things. And do you think that the goal spurred the fans on, or did the fans start getting behind the team before the goal? How did it work?
No, I think it was the goal. Yeah, they got the goal, and I think everybody started to believe. I think I said, could we do it? You wouldn't rule it out. We've seen it so many times, haven't we? And just the whole place. Yeah, there was like loads of challenges going in as well. So, and it was great to see everybody got behind the team, and Graham said it spurred them on. So
it is weird, in Clubland. I've been DJ most of Christmas and New Year, and Boxing Night just felt really flat. It just felt like everybody had too much turkey, and I just couldn't get them motivated. Whatever I tried to do, we got there in the end, as I tend to do. But then New Year's Eve was just, as you would expect, electric, and it felt like that yesterday. It was kind of post Christmas. Everyone's just a bit of energy to start off with, goes a bit flat, and then suddenly that great big huge rush of support that happened at the end, which is just fantastic.
Yeah, I agree with what Stephen said then. As Graham said, after a ending like that, it almost feels like a victory, and I think we snatched victory from the jaws of defeat. I know it was a draw, but we all sit here more. If it was 2-1, then we just thought, poor performance, we should have won that game. But the mighty Dolan goal was went to like the touch paper, and then it just exploded.
It's that weird situation, isn't it, where it is a draw and we need to be winning at Rodney Parade. I know we want to talk about this again in a minute, but as Graham said in the post-match, it does feel like a win. Yeah. But we need to win. So
we need to win.
I'm so confused by it.
But I think tiredness, fatigue was an issue. He only made 2 changes, and he said in his post-match, in hindsight, he should have made more. And Stephen made a good point, which I didn't realise, because we played Friday on Monday. It's the same as Saturday, Tuesday. Yeah. Which I didn't think of. Yeah. I thought it was just 2 days to prepare, not long. But then it's Saturday, Tuesday, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we should be used to that, shouldn't they? I mean, all right, they play 3 games in a week, but it is more or less the equivalent to playing Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. So, and I'm just wondering, if because obviously they've got analysts and everything, and they monitor the players. So if they saw that the players weren't quite 100%, why didn't he make more changes? Because he said it himself, he should have done it. Well, I know hindsight's a marvellous thing, but then you can understand, like he said, he wants to give players the benefit of the doubt, and he's spoken about them keeping the shirt. And after they played so well on Friday, really,
The two things that he said in the Meet the Manager meeting that myself and Stephen went to was that there was there need to be an improvement on fitness and confidence. Fitness, well, he's working away on that, and then they brought David Pipe in. Let's see what happens. That's going to be a very interesting thing to watch. Maybe had an impact already, but the confidence thing, that's only come by believing in the players and having that stable start in 11. So I can understand he was quite torn on this one. The ability to want to change it. Obviously, Mariah well shaped as well. I think bit of a loss yesterday.
Yeah,
he was. Yeah,
definitely.
I think
he had miss.
Yeah, he had energy in midfield that I think we were lacking. He's probably what we call a box to box midfielder. He's someone who can get back into the defensive side, but then can also push up. He's got 3 goals this season. I think he's our joint third goal scorer along with Zanzala. Now, so I think him was a big miss. And Aaron Lewis is a revelation. We've seen a few years ago, Michael Flynn put Matty Dolan in the centre back role, and we were just unbelievable with him there. And now we're playing Aaron Lewis in midfield. As Graham Coughlin had a stroke of genius.
Yeah, well, kind of. Because I know under Robbery he was sort of drifting. I think I spoke about it before. He was drifting into the midfield, and it's quite a fashionable thing to do now. Is to have your Arsenal do it with Zinchenko, Man City do it as well. Their fullbacks come in, but I think what Graham Coughlin has done is he just put him there. Well, obviously needs must, so he put him there. But the biggest compliment you can pay from last Friday night was Leyton Orient went and did exactly the same. They went and put a right back in the middle of the park, which is a huge compliment to the way County were playing. But I think it's a brilliant idea just to put him there. And Aaron Lewis almost scored again yesterday, so he's looking good.
Okay, what I want you to do now is put the two matches together, the Leyton Orient game and the Crawley game, and what we learned in the last 2 games. Because we said that this is going to be quite a pivotal couple of games now, isn't it? What we found out?
We've proved that we can mix it with the better teams in the league, but then we're struggling against teams that are below us. I think the biggest thing for me is we're lacking a cutting edge up front. I know we scored 2 yesterday, but we're not really looking that sharp up front. And for a long time yesterday, I was saying the difference between us and Crawley is when Crawley go forward, they look dangerous. They've got Dom Telford on the end of things, and they look a threat. Whereas, we're getting up to that final third, but then it's kind of all breaking down in and around the penalty area. So I think that's the biggest thing.
I agree 100%. I think we are missing a cutting edge. Yes, I know that Zanzala's coming back from injury. He scored 3 goals in the space of about a month.
5 games.
3 goals in 5 games. That's really good. If he continues that, it'll be double figures. I think him and Bogle should be the front pairing. We've seen on Friday night, and we've spoke about this on the show before, that I feel that Bogle and Zanzala are the front 2. I think Evans, when he plays, he gives his all. He's a fantastic player, but he does lack a bit of cutting edge.
Yeah, I don't think he's a clinical finisher. No. He's not that sort of player. I think that's what we're missing, really.
Yeah, definitely.
Dare I say a Dom Telford type player?
Yeah, that was the revelation this time last year, wasn't it? We've discussed on this show many a time that sometimes the play bypasses the midfield. What happened over the last 2 games, Stephen?
I think we've gotten a lot better now going through the midfield, and we didn't see so many balls going long, I suppose. But
we talked about Friday night. The midfield was an absolute revelation in keeping the scoreline at 0-0 and stuff.
They were, and I think what was really good was, like I said, Bennett sit-in was allowing the other 2. They did try to do it yesterday as well with Waite and Aaron Lewis. I thought Aaron Lewis was brilliant again yesterday. He was all over the place, getting involved, creating chances, nearly scored himself as well. So, I think Waite, his performances have dipped a little bit over recent weeks, but
I think as well, with Aaron Lewis in the midfield, that allows Nathan Mariah-Welsh to be a little bit more adventurous, as we've seen on Friday. And when he got forward on Friday, he did look a threat, whether it's having a shot or picking a pass.
We had 2 positive performances, but we just haven't got the results really that we wanted.
I think we did say on the mid-season review that we need to really push it on there, didn't we? Look, let's go to the absolutely County man of the match then. So a couple of options for us. What have you gone for?
A couple of options with Joe Day, who I feel like kept us in the game yesterday. Our Frandy Zanzala, we just spoke about. Aaron Lewis, who we also spoke about, which I allow you to Twitter loads. But Stephen, what's it loads? And we thought to you, who was your man of the match yesterday?
I voted for Joe Day, actually, because of the saves that he made. And without him making those saves, we would have probably lost.
The Amber Army said Cameron Norman. Paul Williams said Adam Lewis, and JD also said Adam Lewis or Mickey Demetriou.
Yeah.
But with 33% of the vote, Aaron Lewis. He's your absolute county man of the match for yesterday.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. I was going to go for Aaron Lewis, but I went with Joe Day for the saves.
Okay, Newport City Radio is the best place to be in 2023. We've listened to you listening to us, so we've got a brand new schedule of music-based shows: Pure Chill at 10 p.m, Pure Rock and Indie at 6 p.m, and Pure Dance at its brand new time of 8 p.m. It's just good song after good song and less repeats all day. It's online, on your smart speaker and on your smartphone.
Right here.
Right here.
Right now.
Right now.
Newport City Radio.
So it's the new year. I've got a New Year's resolution, but I've also got a New Year's resolution for Newport County. Luke, have you got a New Year's resolution for Newport County?
For Newport County, yes. And my New Year's resolution is something I've seen on social media as well, so people are also saying this to back this up. The word consistency. We need to show more consistency in 2023. We spoke about Friday, one of the best performances of the season so far against Leyton Orient. Unbelievable, that game. We should have won. We should beat the league leaders. The only team this season to beat them are us and ALC Wimbledon, who we drew against on Boxing Day. But then we go and follow that performance up with where we played really poorly against Crawley. The performances were chalk and cheese. You also seen that we beat Crewe at the start of December. Next game, Doncaster Rodney Parade. We fell apart and we had a mini collapse in that game, and Graham Coughlin was furious. You could see that, and I don't know where it went wrong, but I just think we're not showing a consistent performance week in, week out.
Yeah, I think you are right. I think we do need more consistency, don't we? I think we're talking about a settled lineup as well. So I think but it's not happening in terms of results. But Lamsey, I'll come to you for your New Year's resolution for Newport County.
Before that, you said, and there'll be listeners screaming at me if I don't ask you this question. You said, I've got a New Year's resolution.
Yeah, it's to eat better and move more.
There you go. I just know that people listening going, hang on, he said, I took it to mean that.
That's my personal one as well.
I think we're all in it. Matt, have an idea, Ray, that'll talk to you on the next show. Right, okay, so for me, a bit tongue-in-cheek, okay? So I've said for years, I don't like this fight to the end. I think it just leaves too much risk just to keep everything to the last, 15, 10, 8 minutes. So can we please come away from that? I just thought it was a mentality thing that was holding us back. And I've come away from that, as you know. I've come back and said, no, we need to fight now. So forget what I've said for years. I'm going to change it. We need to fight from the beginning, or at least the middle. Yeah. So when we're at home, you would expect us to be the team playing better and playing well because we've got home advantage. What happens at that 20-minute point?
Yeah.
So we need to start thinking, right, what happens? Where again, how do you get consistency? How do we know the players aren't trying to fight after the 20th minute? Certainly on this game. But how do we make that happen? So I think there's two big questions, and there's consistency. How do you get them playing for the whole of the 90-plus minutes? So it's a bit tongue-in-cheek, but my New Year's resolution for Newport County is let's fight from the beginning.
Yeah, I think so. One of the places, like you said, is where are we going wrong? And I think one of the areas where we're going wrong is at the start of the second half. In the first 15 minutes of the second half at home, we've only scored one, but we've conceded 5. And I think it almost happened. I think it was yesterday or against Leyton Orient. I think we were a little bit flat at the start of the second half. So I think that's one of the major problems we've got. Yesterday also was the first time that we scored 2 goals in the last 15 minutes of a match. Obviously, there was 12 minutes extra time. But so I mean, we're not really scoring late on in games either, but we've scored 5 now, conceded 11 in the last 15 minutes of games. So it is that. I think Graham spoke about segments, and those 2 segments is where we're going wrong at home. So this probably explains why. I had a look at our results across the whole year. So between January and May last year, we played 13, won 4, drew 3, lost 6. Between August and December, we won 3, drew 2 and lost 7. But if you compare that to the year before, for January to May, we played 15, we won 7, drew 4, lost 4. And in between September and December 21, we won 5, drew 3, lost 2. But the biggest difference is the goals scored and goals against. If you look at January to May, it was 420 against 19. If you look at August to December last year, it was 4-9 against 14, whereas the year before, between January and May, it was 4-14 against 7, and between September and December, it was 4-20 against 11. So obviously there's a big problem, as we spoke about. We're lacking our cutting edge up front. We're not scoring enough goals. Chris spoke about it in the commentary. We've only scored something like 11 goals at home now, I think, all year. So, yeah, I just think it's something that we really, really need to prove.
And is that where Zanzala comes in?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Love metal? I know we do. Metallica Reloaded are here on Saturday, January the 28th. The doors open at 7 p.m. Get your tickets at the box office or at theneon.co.uk.
Right here, right now.
Newport City Radio.
So the transfer window is open. The January transfer window is now open. We've spoken about issues we've seen in the team. Where do we need to strengthen in this window? I believe we have a clip from Graham Coughlin.
We're actively looking, we're actively seeking. So what will be will be. Notoriously it's a difficult window, but yes, I would like to add 1 or 2 players to the squad.
Stephen, I'm going to throw to you first. Where do you think those 1 or 2 players, what positions should they be?
Yeah, well, I think what he did, we was going to speak about it on the mid-season review, but we didn't get around to it. But I think we've done the right thing, sending Zimba, Neves and Lindley back to their clubs. They weren't really featuring. I know Zimba was making a lot of substitute appearances, but only coming on for a couple of minutes. Neves looked a world beater in the first game he played, but then after that, it just totally dropped off.
I think, yeah.
And then Lindley didn't really get much of a chance, and I just think it makes more sense for him to go back to Villa, either to play in the academy or to go find a different club where he can play a lot more.
I think those 3 players were, unfortunately, with the manager change, just didn't suit Coughlin's play style.
Yeah, I think like with Lindley, you've got Bennett, you've got Waite, you've got Mariah Welsh who's doing really well, so I think that's why he's missed out. I mean, we got Sam Bowen who can't even get in the team.
We were after a number 10 we ended up with him. He was the midfielder that we signed, despite James Roby saying in the summer number 10 was a priority.
Yeah,
on loan, but we ended up with him, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think we've spoke about it, and we definitely need somebody was creative. I think where you put them in the team, I don't know, but we definitely need somebody who's going to create something and maybe pop up with the odd goal. I know we've had really good luck over the last few years with Azaz, Cooper and the who shall not be mentioned. So hopefully we can pull another rabbit out of the hat. I know Graham's spoken about, he said he's tried to get some players, but they're now staying with their clubs. We had this in the summer as well, didn't we? So, and he's happy with the squad, and I can understand that because he wants to work with the players. Yeah, but I just think that we need to bring in, well, definitely a midfielder. I'd probably say another striker as well, just to have 5. We've got Collins and Evans on the bench, or if Bogle and Zanzala start, but just one more. And I think what happens is you bring in a new player and it gives everybody a lift. It gives the team a lift, gives the supporters a lift, and obviously competition for places is really good as well, which is always a good thing to have in a team. So yeah, I'm hoping to see something happen. It's going to be interesting to see the change of policy, because we had a certain way of doing things under Robbery, and he was going for a certain type of player. What type of player is Graham Coughlin going to go for? So that's going to be really interesting to see over the next couple of weeks.
It is. Do you think he'll use his links with Sheffield United? Obviously, he was the under-23 joint manager there, so if anyone's going to know them, it's going to be Graham Coughlin.
Yeah, well, he should have a good knowledge of other under-23 sides, shouldn't he? So hopefully he can use that and find us some good players.
Lambs?
Yeah, I think we need to speak to Darren Kelly. That's what we need to do.
Yeah, that's what we need to do.
Be a really good question to ask him. Is there any amendment or change in emphasis between the last manager and the current one as well? So maybe we'll get around to hopefully doing that in the next couple of weeks. We try not to disturb me on transfer window, but I think we need to speak to someone at the club quite quickly regarding all this. I want to come at a different angle. So obviously you two know what type of players that we need, and you've got thoughts. And Luke could go through 100 names probably.
I probably could have got 1 or 2 lined up already.
I'd probably stop him after about the first 60. But I want to look at it a different way. Graham Coughlin got a very difficult balancing act. I take what you say, Stephen. I think you're right. A new player, fresh competition. Yes, no disagreement with that. I think what he's got to do when there's a an agreed lack of confidence there, the last thing you want to do is be saying, right, well, we need a new striker, because what are you saying to your current strikers? So it's a very difficult question. That's why he couldn't answer your question potentially, Luke, because what can he say? So I think he's right to be saying, I've got this squad, I'm happy with this squad, the players all play for the badge, they play for the club, and what will be sort of vibe around it. And also, as we know, the January transfer window, notoriously difficult to get really good players. He's hedging his bets quite nicely here. He's keeping the existing squad happy, also managing the fans' expectations, and whatever comes next then is a massive bonus, is what I think.
Another thing he said after the Leyton Orient game is that we've lacked balance in midfield, and with Aaron Lewis going to the left side of midfield, he's a natural left-footed player on the left side of midfield. I'm going to throw any of you for answer here. Do you think that could be an area that we look at, maybe the left side of midfield? Because normally it's either Mariah Welsh or James Waite to play them. Both are right-footed players, and for the natural balance in the side, you kind of do want a left-footer playing on the left side of midfield.
Yeah, was Lindley a left footer? I'm not sure. But I don't think, as well as what he's doing at the moment, I don't think you can hedge your bets on Aaron Lewis. I know he's performing really well, but will it last? I don't know. So I think maybe that is a bit of a clue to what he's looking at. Yeah.
Are you planning an event or any size party in 2023? One of the biggest and best venues in Newport could be yours to hire. Find out more at neon.co.uk or call Newport 533 666.
Right here, right now. This is Newport City Radio.
Okay, let's look to the future. Next home game is against League 2, Saturday the 21st of January at 3 p.m. Ollie P will be the singer in the marquee. We're back with live music. Can't wait for that one. So let's talk very quickly about those games coming up. First of all, Rochdale away on the 7th of January. Luke.
We've talked about consistency. We'd say we struggle against the lower league side, so I'm going to say 2-1 Newport. We're just going to scrape through.
Okay, 2-1 Newport.
Rochdale 23rd and 9 points behind us. This is a big opportunity to go and put some distance in between these teams. We really got to start putting these teams to the sword. Unfortunately, we've lost the last 3 against Rochdale, so I'm not very confident going there. So I'd say a 1-1 draw.
Next up, Carlisle away. So we got 2 away games. That might be a good thing at the moment, mightn't it? So on the 14th, Luke, what do you think the score's going to be?
Carlisle, the furthest trip from Newport for the entire season.
Of course, yeah. It's a long one, isn't it?
Yep, it's a long one.
I think Carlisle are one of the informed seed teams in League 2 at the moment. They're having a really, really good season. I'm going to say we're going to scrape through with a 1-0 win.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah, well, they're very good at home, actually. They've only lost to Leyton Orient, which was in October. They've won 5, drawn 5, lost 1. So we've been beaten in the last 4 against Carlisle, so I'm going to say we'll win 1-0.
And then, back at home on the 21st January, AFC Wimbledon are the visitors. Our friend, comedian, Matt Thomas, will hopefully be in town as well.
Yeah, hopefully.
I'll have to get my cuppa. He likes a cuppa. Luke?
3-0 Newport.
3-0 Newport. Okay, Stephen?
Oh, I was going to say 2-1 win.
All right, okay, brilliant. So back to winning ways at home. I like that. Very positive, guys. Brilliant stuff. Well, thank you very much for listening today. We will be back on Sunday, the 22nd of January at 3 p.m. So we'll look forward to catching you then. And we'll see you hopefully a little bit thinner at that time. Take it easy.
Right here.
Right here.
Right now.
Right now. Newport City Radio.